All month long, we've been taking our newscasts on the road. This evening, we're on the east side with a follow-up. People living near two large washes by the Mariposa Resort are still working to put a stop to the proposed development of luxury casitas. They say the casita village would cause issues like flooding and increased traffic. KGUN 9's Eastside reporter Jacqueline Aguilar brought you the story a few months ago. She is live now with an update. Jackie.
Yes, hi Pat. I just wanted to mention that I'm currently at the VFW Post 549. They're hosting a Thanksgiving Eve dinner for veterans and their families. But back to what you just mentioned, I'll share more about this dinner in just a little bit. So the Bear Canyon Neighborhood Association's opposition to Casita Village at La Mariposa has led to a shift in its leadership with a new president and vice president.
Tom Adding was named the new president of the Bear Canyon Neighborhood Association after an annual meeting in October. Adding comes with meteorology and risk analysis experience. He tells me he disagrees with the proposed development because it's within special flood hazard zones.
So the best solution in my mind, you don't build in a wash. You don't build this complex in a special flood hazard zone surrounded by Agua Caliente wash, Tanque Verde wash, and Houghton Road. It barricades that all in.
Risk and process safety consultant John Lockwood is the new vice president for the BCNA. Lockwood says the current flooding issues must be addressed before any development happens.
Where's the design? How are we going to have access? Is it an all-weather access for emergencies? This type of thing has not been included in the submission or application forms for the CLOMA to be issued.
A CLOMAR is used to inform the community about what the anticipated water surface elevation levels will be after a project is completed. The mayor and council were going to make a final decision on the proposed development in September, but the neighbors are still waiting.
We've been meeting constantly, preparing ourselves for this fight that's coming up. They've delayed it and delayed it and delayed it.
Jane Rojas has lived at Powderhorn Ranch since the 1980s and says her home has turned into an island due to severe flooding.
We've had water up 2 or 3 feet. It hasn't physically come into the house because when we built, we had to build up 3.5 feet. But we know the velocity, we've seen the damage, we've experienced it on numerous occasions.
Rojas says their petition opposing Casita Village is gaining strong support at about 2,300 signatures.
Yeah, and Tom Adding tells me that the proposed development may be sent back to the zoning examiner by the mayor and council in early December. Now back to the Thanksgiving Eve dinner that I'm at right now. I just wanted to say that this really speaks to the generous nature of the East Side and the residents here. They told me that this dinner has been going on for about 6 years now, and they made enough food for 100 people. So they also wanted me to mention that all members of the VFW Post 549 are invited to come back tomorrow on Thanksgiving to share some leftovers and watch some football. Reporting from the East Side, I'm Jacqueline Aguilar. Pat, back to you.
All right, sounds great, Jackie. Thank you. Also on the East Side, Saguaro National Park. There's nothing more iconic than the saguaro, and no better place to learn about the cacti, making the park absolutely Arizona.
The giant saguaro, monarch of the cactus family and trademark of the Southwest.
It may not always be pronounced correctly, but the saguaro is the iconic symbol of the Southwest, although the majestic saguaro has its roots in several native cultures.
The Native American people going back to the Hohokam, over 800 years ago, and now the Tohono O'odham, they see this plant as part of their culture. They see this plant as resembling their ancestors that have passed on.
Each spring, this remarkable cactus produces beautiful white flowers. They mature into bright red fruit. The Tohono O'odham still harvest that fruit in ceremonial fashion. This remarkable cactus comes in all shapes and sizes, from no arms to more arms than you can count. And Saguaro National Park is a mecca for seeing and learning about these enormous cacti. The park was started back in 1933, the idea of then University of Arizona President Homer Shantz.
He was a little frustrated and felt like this land was going to become developed.
On March 1st, 1933, President Herbert Hoover created the Saguaro National Monument. In 1994, Congress elevated it to national park status. Saguaro National Park now covers 92,000 acres on each side of Tucson. The Rincon District on the east, the Tucson Mountain District on the west. Both offer amazing views of the saguaros as you drive through. Plus, each has terrific hiking trails, but remember to bring plenty of water and go early in the day. The National Park Service continues to study the saguaro. They just completed another decade-long study that included a count of the saguaros.
Could you imagine counting all the cacti that are in this park? Just in case you're wondering,
yes,
we're almost just over 2 million.
That's up from the previous study a decade ago. Juarez says weather has a lot to do with the growth of the saguaros. A 10-year-old may only be 1.5 inches tall. Fully grown, they can reach up to 60 feet tall. On average, saguaros grow arms at around age 70 and can have as many as 25.
They grow to be almost as old as 200 years. They can hold hundreds of gallons of water to use throughout the year when it's drier.
Fully hydrated, a saguaro can weigh over 4,000 pounds. And did you know that its unique design allows it to self-shade from the intense summer sun? The ribs inside the saguaro create ridges to reduce the surface area exposed to direct sunlight. While each saguaro is completely different, there are some that are even more unique.
We have these saguaros, we call the crested saguaros, that are interesting because they grow a crown, and we can't really explain why, but we have them throughout the park.
You'll find crested saguaros throughout the Sonoran Desert, which is the only place in the world with saguaros.
I might be a little biased, but I think it's the most beautiful national park, certainly, of its type. Cam, thank you very much. Absolutely, Arizona is Saguaro National Park. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.